Hello and welcome back to MoneyLive TV. Great to have you with us. We are now going to talk about automation, efficiency and Maisa's Digital Workers with Andrew from Maisa. Great to see you. How are you?
Very nice to see you too. Enjoying the conference here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so far so good. It's a busy day, but great to have you with us. So look, obviously organizations, banks have put a lot of money and time into automation over the many years. What though operationally still isn't working, isn't making the mark?
Yeah, it's a great question because it does work. I mean, they put tons of money and deliver the tons of value. But the prior waves of technology innovation, if you will, they're hitting the wall now because it's a software development. It's the prior waves of process automation, process management, and so on. And these technologies, they require a lot of investment on the technology side.
Yeah.
So when you have lots of fragmented manual work that is left and like a single person doing 5 different things in their job, it's very difficult to find an ROI. So this really never leads to a transformational change because it's just there is really not enough engineering dollars to automate the work that's left in fragmented spaces.
It's all deterministic. It needs to be done in a certain way. Automation is about that. And of course, we live in a time when the information is much more complex. So you have to be more flexible in principle, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question because there is a lot of rules that exist, but it's also they exist in people's heads. And when you try to document and when you try to put them in a document, 20 minutes later, Trump has new regulations and they're irrelevant. You know, so that's why you need a technology that is capable of having these adjustments as people do the work. So it's able to continue to learn that every new transaction that technology does helps a subsequent transaction to be better and so on. And then the knowledge is captured in a digital form, not in people's heads.
So is that what a digital worker is? You know, we think of AI agents carrying out certain tasks, but it's deeper than that, isn't it? Because you need to be slightly future-proof, you need to be generative, but also locked into what's factual, what's not. What are digital workers for you?
That's a great question, like what's the difference? So the way we think about digital workers, we think of as very specialized AI agents. And if you're familiar with business process outsourcing, which is, industry's been around for ages, they don't try to have one generalist to do all the work. Accounting, settlements, payments, they don't. So what they have is that they have a very specialized approach where a specialist is trained to do very specific tasks. So an AI agent specialized to do a very specific set of tasks becomes a digital worker. So it really mimics the concept of business process outsourcing, just digital. So instead of having real humans, you have the digital twins doing similar work. Also has a very predictable ROI because today, you can fire up the use of generative AI and then you can end up with $1 million bill because nobody knew how much it will cost because these tokens, you don't know how many tokens you need. But when you have an approach with a digital worker, you can compare it to the existing FT cost baseline, and then before you start whether there is ROI or not. And that's what differentiates. It's very focused, task-driven, not boiling the ocean, not AI in general, very much specialized and very specific task. And the way we do it, we have them pre-packaged, pre-trained, meaning that it doesn't require weeks to seeing the results. They already come with the knowledge, and then you could just apply a bit of your own specialized expertise from the company and ready to go.
It's something that we weren't planning to talk about, but that's interesting because I suppose it has to slot into that function within your business. So a business might say, well, okay, we understand you've got a digital worker for this purpose. Our business does things slightly differently. So how flexible can they be?
Yeah, that's where the AI is really helpful in this because, as you said, right? So if it's too rigid, it's just not gonna work. So the power of AI comes, and it's actually underpowered by our proprietary technology called KPU, is that we can derive from how people work the new learnings. So we can adjust and in some cases self-heal, meaning that we found a situation, an exception we've never seen before. It's not that difficult for a technology now to create new very deterministic execution. So new rule. We essentially create rules. We write the code, if you will, in a natural language, so people can also review it. And that also makes regulators happy because they also know how it was done.
Well, that specific job has a specific compliance, but also you want to get rid of hallucinations. And that is something you're working on, isn't it? Without going into too much depth, because that's a whole world we could talk about for an hour. The reduction of hallucinations is essential.
Yeah, it's funny that you said it because I was just reading the very recent paper that came out by OpenAI, by themselves, saying that there won't be lesser hallucinations. And the reason to that is that because LLMs, what they do, they predict
Yeah.
the next token.
They approximate and probabilistic and
correct.
so on.
As you think about optimizing the cost, that's going to lead even to more
Yeah.
lesser accurate prediction. So you need a layer of technology that sits on top of it. And instead of like doing this Q&A, turning the questions into answers as we do now, it is able to create a rule out of the understanding that already exists within the LLM and maybe people heads. And that's why what we have is this technology called KPU, which makes us to have hallucination resistant executions, which is deterministic execution path that are fully auditable. So it doesn't hallucinate because it's deterministic.
Gotcha.
It's just the rules.
Really interesting. Where's the value? Where is the tangible value for a business that is looking to bring in, say this whole new wave of very specific, very compliant, yet very competent workers?
It's also a great question because, like, obviously the first that comes to mind is like cost savings, right? So the operations is the target always. And as you started your conversation by saying like what's left, there's lots still left in that.
Yeah.
So every process has lots of document heavy manual work. I don't know. You take everybody buys cars, so there's more people want to have new cars. So, but most of the time they finance them because cars are getting more expensive and so on. Imagine a stack of documents that comes with this to get a loan, like your pay slip, your proof, you this, you that, and all of that needs to be checked. Sometimes it takes up to an hour for a person to do it. So there's a lot of manual work. So this is a typical target, so that you just automate that work. But it's not always just savings. Like for example, same example was the loan origination. You have the opportunities. For example, today, the way the banks approve the loans, they just say yes, no. It's like yes or no. But in reality, there's this segment, and it's about 20 to 30% of the borrowers that we call them near prime, which can benefit from small adjustment. Maybe a little bit bigger down payments. Maybe you don't get exactly this car.
It's almost discretion.
Correct. But this what if does not exist. So technology like ours is capable of addressing that, and not only you have the savings now, but you also have the benefit of capturing additional revenue.
Yeah.
And just not as an afterthought, but if you think about efficiencies and automating the operations, in the same example, you can also have more capture it because people don't wait too long. Like for example, if you wait 3 days for your loan, you may just like, I'll just go buy another car, another dealership. And that the bank does not get that.
It gets in the way of that relationship, gets in the way of that purchase.
Correct. So it's not just the savings, it's also it also has impact on earnings. When you do it very, very focused, when you try to paint it with like AI brush, not much.
How can this principle at least help with digital transformation, with transformation in banking?
Yeah, that's a great question because most companies, what we've seen today, really look at it as a big transformation project. They're like, like let's have a strategy, let's transform everything, AI generalization and everything. So we have a very different approach. So our strategy, as I said, so we really pick one specific area, we pick one specific job with defined constraints, defined skills, defined ways to measure the outcome, and we automate one at a time. Once you finish with that, you go to next, and then you go to that. And because our technology is available for business users to use, they themselves can create digital twins. So that really opens up the floodgate. So you don't really go with like, hey, let's just like have this big transformation super initiative. You first build the trust with some selected areas, which works right away, which clear and satisfy regulators, and then the people they just lean in. They just go for it.
Solid little victories on a large scale.
Correct.
That's interesting.
And the size of organization, like a large bank, say 70,000 people, 30,000 of them can make a huge difference.
We could talk for a long time. That's the end of it, though, for this time. I'll see you again soon. Thank you very much for joining us.
Likewise. Really enjoyed the conversation.
Great to enjoy it. Yeah, lovely. And for now, that's it from MoneyLive TV, streaming the future of banking. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.